Hello guys, welcome back to another airport update of my Minneapolis St. Paul International Airport. We are back here with maybe the busiest airport update we've had here yet in terms of the amount of aircraft. I'm not sure about that, but it just seems like I have a lot more aircraft out here on the table today than I normally do. So that's very exciting, and I'm excited to share this update with you all. We have a very big Delta lineup here, especially with RJs. We have a ton of RJs today, so that is what we're going to start off with in today's update. But we also have two aircraft. The time frame for this update is Friday, August 4th at around, or at exactly 4 p.m. Is when this is the time frame for this airport update. Although there are two aircraft that are in this update that were not here when this update was taking place in real life. And that is because there were two special flights that happened while I was in Europe that I want to showcase for you in an airport update just because they're pretty cool. So we'll see those. Those are going to be at the end of the update. So everything that we see for the next 10 plus minutes is going to be all what you would see if you were here at the airport on that date at that time. So beginning right here, we have this SkyWest operated Delta Connection CRJ 200. This one came in from International Falls and is currently taxiing in to the A Concourse. Just arrived in from International Falls, and it will later be heading out to Brainerd, Minnesota. All right, now we have 8 RJs literally in a row, so I think it would be best to just attack these 2 by 2. So we'll start with these two here, first being on the left, the Delta Connection CRJ 900 operated by SkyWest. This one came in from Omaha, Nebraska, and you'll be making the flight out to Grand Forks. Next down, we have the CRJ 700, also operated by SkyWest. This one came in from Chicago Midway, our one and only CRJ 700, at least consistent CRJ 700 route. You'll be heading back out there on the turn. So, yeah, it's been that way pretty much the entire time we've been making these airport updates. It's been really just Chicago Midway and the CRJ 700, and not really anything else. So that's very interesting. And it seems like the CRJ 200 routes are now moving up to the CRJ 900 as they're retiring more of the CRJ 200s. So we'll see if they add more CRJ 700s, but it's seeming like they're just keeping with the CRJ 900 and the CRJ 200 until they get retired, which is going to be pretty soon. So you might not have very many more airport updates with these CRJ 200s in them. So I guess savor them while they're here. Alright, moving on to the rest of the A Concourse here. On the left of your screen, we have my Shapeways Custom Delta Connection CRJ 900. This one came in from Madison-Dane County, operated by Endeavor, and it'll be heading out to Cincinnati. And then next down, we have this Comair Retro CRJ 200, operated by SkyWest, and this one came in from Brainerd, Minnesota, and it'll be heading out to Aberdeen. And now moving along here into the C Concourse, you have even more RJs here. Beginning in the back there, we have the CRJ 200 operated by SkyWest. This one came in from Bemidji, Minnesota, and is just now getting the boarding process started for its return flight back out to Bemidji. So a rare turn here with an RJ. So yeah, heading back out to Bemidji is that one. And next to that, we have the CRJ 900 another Shapeways Custom here. Once again, Endeavor operated. And this one came in from Cincinnati, and it'll be heading out to the Sioux Falls Regional Airport. And now we move along into our pair of Embraers. We have on the left the old livery E170. This is flying from E175, obviously with the enhanced winglets. This one is operated by SkyWest. This one came in from Memphis, and it will be heading out to Cleveland, Ohio. Good to hear that Gemini Jets, it sounds like they're going to be making the E175 by February, so I'm definitely going to be getting one, probably 2 of those. So that is very exciting. I'm very much looking forward to when that gets released. Bet you they're going to sell out very fast, but I definitely am going to be hoping to get my hands on one of those models. So yeah, very excited for that release by Gemini Jets, but definitely going to be keeping probably both of these. Maybe, maybe if I get two, I'll change the Shapeways Custom into something else. But yeah, very much looking forward to that release. Speaking of which, here is the Shapeways Custom UN75. This one came in, also operated by SkyWest. This one came in from Duluth, and it'll be heading out to Wichita, Kansas. And now here we have a pair of Delta 737-900s, both on Florida arrivals, with the one on the left, that 737-900 coming in from Tampa, and the one on the right coming in from Fort Myers. The Gemini Jets version of the 737-900 on the left, this one will be heading out to Anchorage, Alaska. One of our coolest routes out of here. We get it on Alaska, Sun Country, and Delta, which is very impressive. So glad to see the Delta still going strong with that on the 737-900. And then the NG model 737-900, this will be heading out to Seattle. So both of those are Alaska hubs, which is kind of ironic. And obviously Alaska flies to both of them from here. Yeah, very cool to see Delta operating those both on the 737-900 and parking them right next to each other right here. And next up here we have the Delta 717. This one came in from St. Louis, Missouri, and it will be heading out to Chicago O'Hare. Right here we have the Delta A321. This is one of my newer models. I did make a modification to it, as you remember by the unboxing. It used to not have the exhaust, the engine exhaust, and I made one out of paper, and it doesn't look too great, but also it kind of looks better than I thought it would, so I'm going to stick with it, and at least it makes the model look a little bit more realistic. Unfortunately, I don't have an antenna to replace the antenna that fell out there, which is unfortunate to see, but at least it looks a little bit better now after I made that engine exhaust out of paper. This one came in from Phoenix Sky Harbor, or Red River Aviation's airport, and it'll be heading out to New York LaGuardia. And next up here we have a pair of United 737s. We'll begin on the bottom of your screen here. We have the EcoSky's 737-900. This one came in from Houston Intercontinental, and it's currently being pushed back for the return service back out there. However, this flight was delayed by about 2 hours, so late for those passengers getting back out to Houston. Then on the top left of your screen, we have the 737-800 in the old livery, and this one is pulling into the gates simultaneously as the 737-900 is pushing back. So since their arrival and departure times were pretty close, I was able to kind of replicate this. I don't know if this is like really realistic of how this would look, but it does look kind of cool, so I figured I might as well do that. So the 737-800 came in from Chicago O'Hare, and it will later be making the service out to Denver. Our sole American aircraft in this update is the CRJ-200, operated by Air Wisconsin, of course. This one came in from Chicago O'Hare, and will be heading back out there on the turn. I'm not sure why American is using CRJ-200 so much on the Chicago flight, because I'd have to imagine that there's enough demand for that to be on a mainline aircraft, either an A319 or a 737, but they choose to use CRJ-200s for whatever reason. I don't really get it. They didn't use E145s as much, they used E175s, but whenever, like, as soon as they got the CRJ-200s, basically they replaced the E175 with the CRJ-200, which is not great for passenger comfort, and obviously does not have as many seats. So, I mean, they still use mainline on the overnight here, but other than that, it's just a lot of CRJ-200s, which I don't really get. But I guess it's what American chooses to do, and thankfully I have the model to represent that here. And now moving along to our last two aircraft here in the Econ course. We'll begin with the Air Canada Express CRJ-900. This is filling in for an E175 as Air Canada is now operating those to MSP. Last year they were operating the CRJ-900s, but they have since switched to the E175, and I don't have a model to represent that one, so I'm just going to have to use the CRJ-900, which is fine. I mean, it's still operated by Jazz Aviation, so at least the operator is still correct, but it is the incorrect aircraft. But until I can get an E175, it will just have to be I'll just have to use this one, which is fine because I mean, they're pretty similar in terms of like capacity and stuff. So this one came in from Toronto, and it will now be making the flight back out to Toronto on the turnaround for this guy. And then behind the Air Canada Sierra 9, we have the Alaska UN-75. This one is operated by Horizon, and this one came in from Portland, and you'll be heading back out there. This is our once daily turn to Portland on the UN-75. So good to see that they're still serving Portland, even though it did get downgraded to the UN-75. It used to be on the 737, but they've been switching. Alaska, they always switch the aircraft that they use here. I mean, back when they had the A320s, they used the A320s a lot to Portland / Seattle, and then Portland was downgraded to UN-75, and then they brought it to the A320, and then it was on the 737 for a while earlier this year. And then, yeah, so Portland's been on a bunch of different aircraft, but now it looks like it's back on the UN-75, which fortunately I can use this aircraft to represent that beautifully. And now moving along into the F gates, beginning with the 737-800 here for Delta. This one came in from Spokane, Washington, and it will be making the flight out to San Jose, California later. The Delta A220-100 came in from Austin, Texas, and is currently in the boarding process for the return flight back out to Austin. And I can never get good angles with this aircraft for whatever reason. It's being backlit, unfortunately. This is the Delta A319 filling in for an A320, as I do not have that model yet. Hopefully NG or Gemini will make that one. I will definitely be picking one up, since we're now getting a lot of A320s here at MSP. But for now we have the A319 to fill in. This one came in from Bozeman, Montana, and it'll be heading out to Detroit, Michigan. And next up here we have this United 737 MAX 9. This one came in from Chicago O'Hare and is currently taxiing out for the return service back out to Chicago. So yes, fantastic to use this model for the first time. The United MAX 9 is one of my pickups from Airliners International, and it looks absolutely fantastic. American can definitely learn from this. With United using mainline 737s to Chicago, I mean, I feel like there's got to be enough demand for American to use it, but I guess I kind of went over it. But yeah, I mean, United, they have the demand to put it on the 737, so I feel like American would be able to do it, because I mean they're both pretty big cities in the Midwest with a lot of connections. So yeah, that's my reasoning why I feel like American should upgrade at least one of their midday flights to mainline. But I mean, I digress. There's nothing really I can do about it. And next up here we have the Delta A330-900neo in the beautiful Team USA livery. This one came in from Tokyo, Haneda, and it will be heading back out there on the turnaround. And our other Delta wide body today is this A330-300. This one came in from Amsterdam's Schiphol, and it'll be heading out to Paris Charles de Gaulle. And now we'll have a trio of A321s to round out Terminal 1 here. We have the Delta A321neo first. This one came in from LAX, and it'll be heading out to Las Vegas. Behind that one we have the Thank You livery A321, and this one came in from Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson, or Citrus Aviation's airport, and it'll be heading out to Atlanta on the turn, once again Citrus Aviation's airport. And finally we have this A321, which is in from Las Vegas, and it'll be heading out to Orlando. And here we have, for the first time in a while here in these airport updates, we have JetBlue. This is their A220-300. This is, I believe, the first time I'm using this in an MSP update. Maybe not, though. I'm pretty sure it is. This one came in from Boston Logan, just landed, and it will soon taxi off the runway, head over to Terminal 2, and later it'll be on the turnaround flight back out to Boston. And now we head into Terminal 2, beginning with our Southwest aircraft here. We have the 737-700 on the bottom of your screen. This one came in from Kansas City, Missouri, and you'll be heading out to Chicago Midway. And behind that one we have Freedom 1. It's been a while since I've used this aircraft as well. This one came in from Nashville and is currently pushing back. It will be heading back out to Nashville on the turnaround. Now moving in to the Sun Country gates, beginning on the left, we have the Sun Country 737-800. This is the Tide Pod livery. This one came in from Tampa. It'll be heading out to Rapid City. And then we have the Transavia hybrid livery, 737-800. And this one is in from Traverse City, and it will be heading out to LAX. And now moving along here to the rest of the gates, we have the 737-800 here. This is in the 40 years of flight sticker with split scimitars. This one came in from Portland, Maine, and it will be heading out to Cincinnati. Then behind that one, we have the 737-800 in the old livery with wingless. This is the first time this aircraft is appearing in an update, which is about time that it does. But yeah, it's a very nice aircraft here. One of my newer pickups here. This one came in from Fort Myers, and it will be heading out to Las Vegas, Harry Reid, another Las Vegas flight. And is that Cayman Airways? Yes, it is. This is one of the special flights that I alluded to in the beginning of the update. Yes, Cayman Airways, they did this last year as well. They flew a special charter flight. There was a team from a soccer team, football team, should be football, from the Cayman Islands, and they came up here to like play a tournament or something in Minnesota. Not really sure the entire story, but it was something along those lines. And they chartered a Cayman Airways 737 MAX 8 up to do it last year, and it is back once again this year. This happened, and of course both years it happens when I'm in Europe, so I can't do a proper airport update. But yeah, a very cool, very cool event that happened, and I hope they continue doing it because it is a good cause, and we get to see this cool aircraft here in Minneapolis that we don't normally get to see. So yeah, very cool here. This one will be heading out to Georgetown in the Cayman Islands. So yeah, great to see Cayman Airways here again. I love that livery. It is a fantastic livery on the 737 MAX 8. And now here we have the UPS MD-11. This one came in from Louisville, Kentucky, and it will be heading back out there. It's just been sitting here, and it will head out back out to Louisville later tonight. So next up here we have another Southwest 737-800. This one is kind of here in the cargo apron and it's just waiting for its gate to open up. It is the one that the Freedom one and the Nashville flight is pushing back out of. So this one is just waiting here for the moment, and it will soon pull into that gate once the Nashville flight taxis away. And this one is coming in from Chicago Midway, and it'll be heading out to St. Louis, Missouri. And then moving along here, we have two more cargo aircraft. We have the Prime Air 737-800 there. This one is operated by Sun Country. This one came in from Cincinnati. It just pulled into its gate, so that's why there are no airstairs attached yet. It just arrived in from Cincinnati and will later be heading out to San Bernardino. We also have the DHL 737-800 filling in for a 737-400. This one is also in from Cincinnati, and this one will be on the turn back out there. And yes, what a pair to end on. Yeah, this is great. We have the FedEx MD-11 here, which came in from Memphis, and will be heading back out there on the turn once again. He'll be heading out later, just like the UPS MD-11. So yeah, great to see that FedEx is now operating MD-11s consistently to MSP, so we were getting now both UPS and FedEx MD-11s, which is awesome, as I am an MD-11 lover. And behind that one, yes, that is an Antonov 124. Unfortunately, it is a 1/500 scale, so that is why it is smaller than the MD-11. But we did get the Antonov 124 here. I'm not sure the purpose why, but it was caught by a plane spotter, so thanks you to Calvin HJ3's MSP Aviation for catching that, so I knew this happened, and I'm not really sure why this is here. I don't even know where it came in from, but it is heading out to Bangor, Maine. So yeah, very interesting there. Not really sure the purpose for it, but we did get Antonov, and that it's come in multiple times, so good to see it come in once again here, and hopefully we'll see it at some point in the future, and hopefully I'll know the reason why it is here. But yeah, Antonov visit. You don't see one of those every day. So also, of course, it happened when I'm in Europe, so I can't do an airport update. I don't know why all these things happen when I'm away. We get all the cool stuff at MSP when I'm away in Europe, and when I'm here, we get Delta. So yeah, that'll do it for this airport update. I hope you enjoyed it, as we had a lot of interesting stuff in this airport update. Definitely a very fun one to do, and I hope you enjoyed viewing it. And yeah, that's it. So I'll see you tomorrow. And as always, good night. Auf Wiedersehen.